our ulama mentioned that it is important to speak about the establisher of a particular knowledge. Meaning, when we study the knowledge of Aqeedah, we ask the question, who is the one who established this knowledge? Al-Muassis. In Arabic, we call it Al-Muassis. What is the meaning of establisher? The meaning of establisher is a person who comes and compile this knowledge. Who is the one who compile this knowledge completely? During any time. For example, knowledge of Nahu, the Arabic grammar. So there is no books written in the time of the Sahaba, likewise in the time of the Tabi'een. And then came Al-Imam Sibawayh. And Al-Imam Sibawayh was considered to be the Muassis. Because during his time, he managed to compile the knowledge of grammar in a complete compilation. So here we mentioned that he is the establisher of knowledge. We are not saying that he is the first person who came out with this knowledge. That is not what is meant. Al-Imam Shafi'i, for example, he is the first person who wrote on Usulul Fiqh. Before Imam Shafi'i, no scholars wrote any Usulul Fiqh. Imam Abu Hanifa came before Imam Shafi'i. Imam Malik came before Imam Shafi'i. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq came before Imam Shafi'i. But Imam Shafi'i is considered to be the first who compiled knowledge of Usulul Fiqh. So if you don't understand this, you might be thinking, does the knowledge of Usulul Fiqh does not exist during the time of Imam Abu Hanifa and the Sahaba and the Tabi'een? No, it exists, but not as a compilation. When it comes into the knowledge of Aqeedah, my dear brothers and sisters, it is the same thing. During the time of the Prophet ﷺ, this knowledge is not compiled. You will not find any Sahaba sitting in front of the Prophet ﷺ and opening any particular kitab written by Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhuma, for example. No. Came Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, wrote Fiqh al-Akbar. Came Al-Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and he wrote some things on Tawheed. And then came Al-Imam Abu Hasan Ashari, and Al-Imam Abu Hasan Ashari wrote books, and he established the Qawa'id, the fundamentals, the principles. And the scholars who came after Al-Imam Abu Hasan Ashari considered him as the establisher. Why? They consider him as the establisher because they come to a consensus that this is the Aqeedah of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. That this is the Aqeedah of the Prophet ﷺ by the compilation of the books of Imam Abu Hasan Ashari. Likewise, Imam Abu Mansur al-Maturidi, who lived in Khurasan. Imam Abu Hasan Ashari, he was in Baghdad. Imam Abu Mansur al-Maturidi, and he was in Khurasan. They live at the same time, but they do not met. But the students of Imam Abu Hasan Ashari and students of Abu Mansur al-Maturidi, they met and they found there are no differences between those compilations. So the Aqeedah of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, if people ask, for example, what is the Aqeedah of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, our answer and the answer of ulama for the past 1,000 years is always the madhab of Al-Imam Abu Hasan al-Ashari, which is known as the Asha'ira, and the madhab of Al-Imam Abu Mansur al-Maturidi, which is known as al-Maturidi. Most of the fuqaha of the Shafi'iyya, Malikiyya, Hanabila, they are the Asha'ira. Some many of the fuqaha in the Hanafi madhab, many of them are Maturidi. And I mentioned madhab because we are not speaking about one person. We are speaking about a lot of ulama over the centuries. People like Al-Imam al-Nawawi, Imam al-Haramain, Al-Imam al-Ghazali, Al-Imam al-Suyuti, Al-Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, Al-Imam Ibn Hajar al-Haythami. They are Asha'ira.